Good morning. In today's session, we will see about the synchronization that will be needed in a digital communication. So here we want to see about the bit and frame synchronization technique. So what is the need of the synchronization? These techniques are used in order to ensure that signals are transmitted from one participant of communication that can be transmitted correctly, that can be decoded correctly by the receiver. So to achieve this goal, certain timing information must be passed to the receiver, such as where communication units begin and where it will be ended. So here in the digital communications, we will need the three types of synchronization. These are bit synchronization, frame synchronization, and the carrier synchronization. Bit synchronization is required to identify bit interval. Frame synchronization will be identifies a group of bits. Instead of bit interval, it will identify group of bits belonging to a given time slot, taking time slot. And carrier synchronization, it will extract the carrier signal that will be with the coherent detection. So here we will see, if we want to transfer the binary digital information over a physical medium in order to make a communication that will be in between two computer systems, there are several problems to be solved. So here when we will use the bit and frame synchronization, that will among most basic problems to be get handled by using the bit and frame synchronization, because when we are using the bit and directly we will see the synchronization which we want to see in our syllabus. So here when we are saying about the synchronization, at that time, here the timing operation at the receiver should closely follow the corresponding operation at the receiver. It means what? Here we will need the synchronization that will be in between the transmitter and receiver. So for the synchronization, we will require a clock signal at the receiver that should have a precise frequency and a phase relationship with a received signal. So here we can say there will be some allowance has to be made to make into account propagation delay that will be in between a transmitter and receiver. So here we are saying why we will need the synchronization, because there are several points we can consider that make clear why synchronization is essential for a serial transfer of digital data. First problem is the sender and receiver clocks may not run synchronous, so that sampling instant will shift from beginning signal to the end, or it can be overflow. So if we will not require this, we will need the synchronization, because we are saying if there is a no synchronization at that time, sender and receiver clocks may not run synchronous, so there will be the sampling instant shift that can be going to the overflow. So here this is especially likely when there is no hint, where a data entity may it be a bit or a byte. At that time, if when a long line of a similar signal are transferred, if we are sending the row of logical 1 which would be encoded as a constant voltage of certain value, at that time, if you see this example, you will get how we are saying there is a synchronization problems. So here if we are imagining a communication that will be with two data terminal equipment, 2 DTE, that have a major difference in their speed of their clock pulses. So the receiver clock is running 12.5% ahead of time than a sender one. At that time, if sender will transmit only 8-bit word, receiver will interpret as a 9-bit word, because we are saying it is receiver speed is ahead. So here we can see when he is sending the data at that time, as he is sending, but here we will get one additional. So you can see we are sending 101 4 times 01, but at the receiver he will get 101 4 times 0, again additional 1 0 and 1, because here when we are talking about the synchronization problem, if we are not doing the synchronization, but as you can see in the graph, receiver will not only sample too much bits, it will sample wrong bits, because here its speed is higher as compared to the transmitter. So we can say its conclusion that there can be no interpretation of a common signal if there is a not certain of a synchronization. So we can say synchronization technique will guide the receiving system in determining the where data entities start and where they are ended. So here we will get the exact information which transmitter have sent. So here what is the needed decoded to decode the received signal? So receiver will have to determine where a signal starts and ends in order to sample the signal as near at a middle of the signal as possible. So it will have to know where byte start and it is ended. So it will take exactly the correct data which transmitter sent it. So here we can see the mode of transport. There are asynchronous and a synchronous. We want to see synchronous. So just firstly we will see there is a common way to differentiate data transmission that can be a synchronous or a asynchronous. So if it is asynchronous, there is no synchronization of a transmitter and receiver clocks. And if the complete block of transfer character is considered only one entity of communication, at that time we can say that is a synchronous communication. So in synchronous communication mode, the clock of sender and the receiver both will have to run in a synchronization with each other for the time of transfer of one clock. But if it is asynchronous, receiver will have to find out and where each byte it can start and it end. But this does not imply the need for the clock synchronization. So now we want to see about the clock synchronization. So here when we are giving the synchronization at that time, we want to see about the bit and frame synchronization. So we can see about the bit synchronization. The different types of line encoding we have seen, that's why I have skipped that. So here what we are saying about the bit synchronization, when we are supposed to detect the binary signal at a receiver, we have to sample received signal at a precise instant. So this will require a clock pulse. So we can say here clock signal will be at the receiver in a synchronization with the receiver. So the method of extracting a bit duration, that we can call as a bit synchronization. So here there are three methods of the bit synchronization. Derivation of a clock signal from the master timing source both at the transmitter as well as at the receiver. Transmitting the clock from the transmitter to receiver and extracting the clock signal from signal. We can say that as a self-synchronization. So here when we are saying about the bit synchronization, there we can use three methods. There will be three methods. Derivation of a clock signal at the transmitter receiver, transmitting the clock from transmitter to receiver, and extracting the clock from signal. We can say that as a self-synchronization. So here the first method, where we are saying we will require the clock signal derivation, that will be from the master timing source at the both receiver and the transmitter. So here first method we can use for the large volume of data and high speed communication, but its cost is high. And transmitting the clock from transmitter to receiver, we can use that for transmission of clock. So here we can say there should be spare capability available, because as it will uses the channel capacity for the transmission of clock, we can say here spare capacity is available. And third, where we are saying extracting the clock signal from the signal to signal, means self-synchronization. Self-synchronization is more efficient and we can use it more often. So here we will see about the self-synchronization. So we can say for the synchronous transmission, data is not transferred byte-wise. So there are no start or stop bits indicating the beginning or the end of character. Instead, we are sending the continuous stream of bits which have to be split into a bytes. So therefore, receiver has to sample the received data in a right instant, and sender and receiver clock have to be kept in a synchronization step at that time. Our main task is synchronizing the sender and receiver clocks. So we can say that as a bit synchronization or a clock synchronization. So here, if we will talk about the unipolar or on-off signaling format, which will contain the discrete component of a clock frequency. So we can apply that signal to a resonant circuit. Resonant means we can say as a BPF that will be tuned to a clock frequency, and we will get the output of resonant that will be a sinusoidal. But for the polar format, signal we are passing through a square format. You can observe here. We are giving the signal that will be a square waveform. So we can say for the polar, signal is passed through a square law device. So the resulting signal will be a unipolar waveform. So we can see here about the clock encoding. So here when we will give the output of the square law, we can give to the band pass filter. So we will get the output that will be a synchronized with respect to the transmitter. So we can see here the most self-evident way to accomplish the clock synchronization is nothing but to send the clock signal to the receiver, and this can be done by adding the signal of the local clock to the encoded signal. So here when we are talking about the bipolar encoding, which receiver will have to be interpreted by using the bipolar encoding, it is not necessary to create additional transmission. So each bit of the bipolar, it can divide into the middle by the signal shift of the clock. So there are two possible values for which each bit we can take high 0 and the low 0, denoting logical 1 and a logical 0, because in bipolar we are considering positive as well as a negative. So the received signal will contain enough information for the encoder as it can determine its length. So we can see here the waveform when we are sending that bit. At that time, if you observe the transmitter side, it is sending 1 0 1 0 at that time. Bipolar encoded signal, we are saying bipolar encoded. So here if we are having the value 1, if we are saying for the return to 0 RZ, it will only work for the half waveform. So you will get when it will go for 1, for half cycle you will get 1 and it will go to the 0. But if you see for the receiver side, you will get the extracted clock. So we can see here in the figure, bipolar clock encoding of the transmitter is added to the bit stream that should be transmitted, and resulting signal is also a bipolar. It will contains a clock signal that can be extracted in order to encode the bit stream. So here we can say this way of a clock encoding is also we are saying as a return to 0, as it will requires a medium that will be capable to carry the bipolar signal. So this limitation we can overcome, because here we are saying when we are supposed to use the bipolar return to zero encoding to transmit the signal, and where we will require the synchronization between the transmitter and receiver. At that time it will require the medium for that will be capable to carry the bipolar signal. So we can overcome this by using the digital phase lock loop. So the main idea of digital phase lock loop will be the receiver clock is reasonably accurate. It means what? It should be resynchronized with the sender clock whenever we will require. And unlike the direct clock encoding, there is no direct transmission of the clock signal, but it is possible to extract the clock information from the digital. So here when we are talking about the bit synchronization, we are using the bipolar and we are using the half circle. So we can say here only we are supposed to use the half duration of the clock pulse. Remaining we will see in the next class. Thank you.